Talking Horses. Andy Serling, joined by my good friend Anthony Stabile. How are you, Anthony?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Ryan Martin just posed a very interesting question to us.
He always does. He gives some really good. He has some doozies.
I'm going to tell you something.
You're the poll guy. He's the question guy.
I don't know how many people I've never met. Say people Ryan's age. Ryan's what?
26, 27.
He's got more encyclopedic knowledge of history of racing than just about anyone.
Well, I can't remember who it was, but somebody
works
said
for us in the press office,
somebody
by the way.
said he is well on his way to being the next Andy Serling around here, and I think that's the ultimate compliment as far as racing knowledge. I mean, everything else is, here or there, but here or there. But as far as racing knowledge, he's come up with some doozies.
He was asking us because why we're talking about it is with Code of Honor. It appears to be heading towards the Met Mile, a race that Shug won with Honor Code not long ago. We're trying to find a horse that won the Travers, Jockey Club Gold Cup, and Met Mile, and it's a very tricky question.
I'm pretty confident since Easy Goer finished third behind Criminal Type and Housebuster in his Met Mile attempt at 4 in 1990, and he's my favorite horse of all time. If I go forward from 90 at the very least, that it has not happened.
Did Damascus win the Jockey Club? It was 2 miles back then, and I don't know if he would have won the Met Mile because, I don't know if Fager won it.
That's what you have to remember too, right? When Easy Goer won the Jockey Club Gold Cup in '89, it was a mile and a half.
Yep.
And that had already been reduced from the 2 miles.
Last 2 mile one, 1974, when Group Plan upset Wajima in his last race for the Chief.
So there you go.
One of the Chief's upsets. Forest Field in the rain, Forgo scratched because it rained. Anyhow, hope everybody enjoyed their weekend.
There's some homework for everybody.
Enjoy your weekend?
Try and find the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Met Mile,
go to Twitter.
Travers.
Met Mile, Travers, and Jockey Club
Gold Cup. There you go.
A very, very tricky one.
That's a tough
Holy
one.
Bull did the Woodward Jockey Club and Woodward Travers and Met Mile in the same year. He didn't run the Jockey Club. Anyhow, we've got a 9-race card. Ryan had to tell me, by the way, in a text why he asked that question, as though we didn't figure that out. He just got a demerit for that. Necessary.
We take a point. Point comes off the card. Richard Steele just took a point off the card.
Maybe even 2. I was very pleased when I looked at Anthony's picks and saw that we don't agree in a single race, particularly. So I expect to have a winning day today. Meanwhile, he's been picking a lot more winners than I have these days.
Jokes.
Until Sunday. Sunday,
you put on a clinic Sunday. That was a good job. Very good job.
He just told me that Criminal Type did win the Travers. His stock is plummeting.
Ryan,
Criminal
just
Type
stop.
beat Easy Goer and the Met. Let it go. Anyhow. Race number 1. Race number 1. Oh, I have a trainer stat for your horse. And it's a good one. Maiden special weight to maiden claimer in a turf sprint. Your man, Christophe Clement. By the way, tough to stop that Clement train. They've won 10 races to meet. He's having such a good meet, I really have to ramp up how much I abuse him.
I think it's been plenty.
It's not, but it hasn't been enough. Honestly, it's honest.
I feel like it's
let me just say, we know why Christophe is winning so much.
You're off of him.
No, Miguel has been working for him. What is different for the Clement bar than previous years? Clearly, it's Miguel. It's not Christophe. It's something I'm sure Miguel, his son, reminds him on a hour by hour, if not minute by minute basis. I got to tell you something. I know this horse gets Lasix, Anthony. I don't know.
Well, he only got 1 turf race. They tried to get him on the turf a couple of times. He wasn't good.
He was bad.
I don't know if he was bad. I will say he wasn't good.
She was.
I will say she wasn't good. I'm not going to say she was bad. I think it's like being partly cloudy or partly sunny.
I thought she was bad.
Okay.
I think that race in a turf sprint looks better than it was. She can absolutely win. I just felt like she'd be a reasonably short price in here for Christophe, and I kind of preferred others. I mean, Pink Floyd is the horse to beat. The problem with Pink Floyd is that she's had a lot of chances, and it sort of bothers me. I thought she ran fine last time with a wide trip. That was when they had the gold rail. But it's just how many times do you want to sort of put up with it? And she's been a short price in a lot of those races. Not a super short price. She's kind of the horse to beat. I just seen enough, man.
If I'm playing exact,
you got her left out of your top 4.
If I'm playing exactas and tries, I'm going to use her. But I've seen enough. She's going to win one of these days, and she's going to do it without me.
Okay.
And that's it. I just want to take some. I want to take a couple of horses in here.
Leaving her out of your pick 5?
I'm leaving her out of my pick 5. I am leaving her out of my pick 5 ticket. I will show you my pick 5 ticket.
No,
she will not be on
you're
my
a
pick 5 ticket.
Man of honor.
I can't.
So Gratz, who you have second, I have on top. I don't think this horse ran badly against much better horses coming off the layoff last time. At least showed some speed, at least did some running on the drop down. I just thought Gratz of the contenders would be the best price, the main contenders, so I put her on top. Explain to me why you're using Gringotts.
You know, Gringotts got I don't want to say she got good, but she kind of improved off of her. I mean, her first 3 starts looked like she was finger legs bound for good.
I don't think her second start wasn't horrendous.
It wasn't great. I mean, the last 2 starts,
but those were on the dirt in the winter.
They are,
and she doesn't have much turf pedigree.
There's not, but she's going to get a significant rider upgrade. I think last time, I know they went slow. I think Kendrick will be a little more aggressive with her. I don't think she'll be anywhere near the lead, but I don't think she'll be left with as much work to do as she has been in the past. She gets a new surface, and she's going to be 20-1.
She should be. Okay. I hear you. I even have Love. I mean, Love Me Tomorrow is dangerous near as well. I mean, Love Me Tomorrow's won turf race. That was a wicked pace at Saratoga that fell apart. I wouldn't just sleep on the 4 Love Me Tomorrow. So I thought that horse had a little bit of shot as well. I could use any of my top 4 picks in this race.
It's a very interesting way to start the day. Midnight Banker wouldn't surprise me either. Only 1 of 4 sibs, 1 on the turf, but
it's not
just
really
so she's dropping down.
Though.
She's another horse. She's got some speed. I mean, I don't know.
She has some speed on paper. Eric Cancel hasn't been aggressive with anybody the entire meet.
Well, listen, if we think Love Me Tomorrow is going to go,
well, she is going to go.
Right. You know, I mean, maybe she
if
gets.
If Dylan doesn't go with Love Me Tomorrow,
maybe she gets it. See, that's the problem with the pace in here. The 2 guys on the speed
Love
horses.
Me Tomorrow's going.
Okay.
Love Me Tomorrow's going. How could she not?
We'll see.
Race number 2, because I knew Anthony would go for this horse. I'm like a sage picking out these replays for you. Let's take a look at Inside Info.
Well, listen, we spend every day on air together for the last 3 years. You should start to know me by now, the same way I know some of the things you're going to do. Look, this was a tough race to get through. There are an awful lot of horses in this race that have had a lot of chances, and quite frankly, Inside Info hasn't. First 2 races were on a turf, and then in a stakes race at Finger Lakes, dropped in for the tag last time, got a good trip, got the money. Does what they're supposed to do. Brad Cox wins races, not only because he's a good trainer and the horses, he's got good stock. When you win for maiden claimer, the old adage is you cut the horse in half. A lot of times there aren't opportunities to do that here because if you run for 20, you can't run for 10 too light.
Isn't this horse going to be bet off a win, though, and just isn't very good?
Listen, I'm not saying I don't know how good he is. I can tell you this.
I do. Not very.
He's running against a bunch of horses that have just failed time after time.
Well, that's not. Let's take a step back from that.
Andy, 1 for 19, 1 for 8, 1 for 41, 1 for 8.
Did you look? You know what price Our Troubadour was in that race? By the way,
37-1.
No, 100 something to 1 actually. I think 149 to 1. He's in later this week. I think he was over 100 to 1.
No.
But the man who just
got Barker and Gaffalione. I think it was like 37-1. I'd bet money
on another horse.
Maybe
it's another horse.
Yeah, it's another
Cox won with that was 150 to 1. By the way, there is a correct answer, and you won't be surprised. My friend Steve, who gets everything, got the answer.
What decade?
60s.
Yeah,
Arts and Letters.
It was going to be.
Arts and Letters won all 3.
It was going to be before me. I knew there was nobody there. No, there was no shot. It was anybody in this 80s to today.
Well, okay, I'm just telling. Arts and Letters did win all 3. He was a pretty darn good horse.
He was a pretty good horse.
I like a horse in this race. I think that Mental Model is the horse to beat, by the way. I don't trust him at all. But you got to prep on the turf last time. I bet a lot of Linda's horses needed that race coming off the layup. They certainly ran like it. We saw her win a race finally on Saturday. And I know he's not reliable, but he's the horse to beat, I think, in this race. I'm not wildly for him. I like the 9, Mind the Coin, for Gary Gullo, who also got a prep. You know, one time Gary was very good at using turf preps for dirt races. It hasn't really been the case as much in recent years. This is a horse that's got that one win that would make him very tough back at Aqueduct. I know he didn't run well, but he got caught up in some big paces in his next couple of races. Gets IRAD. I thought he was a supremely logical horse, second off a layoff, going turf to dirt. And I like Mind the Coin. I feel like he's one that needed a race for Gary Gullo, and that's why Gary ran him on the turf.
The only reason I'm even using him in the pick 4 or the pick 5 is because he had that race last time out. Because to me, off his last 2 dirt races, he is a very, very, very tough horse to take.
Okay, he's going to be a bigger price than your selection, but they're close in the morning line. We're at 45.5 lunches, and I know you want to get that half a lunch out of the way. So I will bet you a lunch and a half that the 9 beats the 7.
We could do that.
Okay. I'm not way against the 7, but we got to do something about that. We're at 45.5 for those that are keeping track at home. In case you're wondering, I'm up.
Plenty.
I don't want there to be any confusion and think that there were some odd lunch bets like
you know,
while
it's
we weren't
funny.
racing.
When we first came back, I missed this. and it
you don't
went
anymore?
away very quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing how that happens, isn't it?
Absence makes the heart grow fonder for about 10 days, ladies and gentlemen. That happens
with most people that know me. Race number 3, I thought race number 3 was a somewhat interesting race, and I guess the horse to beat. You like the 10 Mariner Key.
I think like is a very strong word. I'm selecting Mariner Key. I don't, when I look at these races, and again, you have some 0 for 9, 0 for 7, 0 for 14, 0 for 14, 0 for 27. I can't take these quote-unquote, no offense, professional maidens. I can't do it.
But you've left out non-professional maidens that are okay, and you've left them out of your top 4. But that's another discussion. I mean, I don't know how you've left Frozen Account out of your top 4, but we'll get to that. Okay, so you like the horse because he's only run twice, but
no,
I've got him third.
I like Charlie has, again, and I'm using
Charlie
the race
Baker,
numbers.
the
Charlie
trainer
Baker
of Mariner
has
Key.
Good numbers, second off this kind of a break. Source Flash Speed. They went 46 for this condition last time out. They went fast last time, and this horse was off the break and chasing a fast pace.
No, let's not get carried away. It wasn't a fast pace. It wasn't a crawl.
It was a fast pace for this bunch.
No, it wasn't, Anthony. They went
so?
111 for the final time, so how fast was 46? Let's not get carried away. It wasn't a slow pace, but I don't think it was a fast pace.
Okay.
I mean,
For this bunch, I thought it was a little quick. But you could be right. I'm not going to argue the point.
I
just think this horse is going to benefit from having the race under his belt. He's going to be...
I mean, he finished behind Imperio D. It wasn't that far out. It was 74-1. And he wasn't that far off of that.
No, Imperio D can win as well, but Imperio D's had
I don't like Imperio D.
half a dozen chances,
but
7 chances.
Well, so your only reason for having Street Dance in there, the horse ran once. And I'm not sure he's impossible either.
I don't think he's impossible. The blinkers are going on. I'm always a big believer that horses take a big step forward second time. He's going to need to, because he did not do a lot of running first time.
No, he
out.
didn't. He was bad.
He was bad. He gets a little bit of a better draw now. The blinkers go on. Joel stays.
What was wrong with his draw last time?
I don't love when my first is, especially, I don't love when my first is a drawn inside.
There's something very important, though, to discuss about that race that you're not bringing up. The winner of that race was completely eliminated at the break, yet he still won. So I think when you evaluate horses coming out of that race, it's at least important to acknowledge that they all lost to a horse that got just taken out of the race to start and still won. So that race probably should have had the winner winning by about 5.
Which is why when you
said... And he got a great ride from Raylu thereafter, but it kind of mitigates the others a little bit.
Which is why when you said I like Mariner Key, I think it's really hard to have a strong opinion in here.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Unbridled John of the horses out of that race is probably the one that you want, in my opinion, because Cancel just left this horse with way too much to do. And I think this is a very indicative horse of what we've seen from Eric, who was riding so well at Aqueduct. And it just seems like his head hasn't been in the game since he came back, because one of the reasons he's riding well is he was getting horses into the race. And he hasn't been doing that. He's been falling back on bad habits. And this horse just got lost. Should this horse really have been 11th based on his prior races? And I'm saying, now, he was off a layoff, so maybe he needed the race, but we've seen this pattern too many times.
You won't allow this to be an excuse, but I really do think, I don't care how often you ride here, I do think people still get lost. Jockeys still get lost.
I understand, but it's their job to not let it happen. And
Eric's
been riding here for years.
And I have no argument.
Yeah, and the thing is that Eric was riding so well at Aqueduct. So listen, the thing about Eric that frustrates me, and I know he probably thinks I pick on him, but one of the reasons is because I know he can ride.
He has a lot of talent.
I've seen the guy ride really well. I mean, as an apprentice in Saratoga, he won like 18 races. The guy can ride. And one of the ways that he's been successful when he has been is by being a bit aggressive.
More aggressive.
And it's rewarded him. So I'm always surprised when you don't do what's got you there. And I know he can ride, and that horse can win. I like Frozen Account, though. I thought he was just coming out of a much better race last time out. And I know that race fell apart at the end. I think if you watch the race, it's worth watching. Frozen Account, he actually did some running in there. He made a move in that race. He's a horse that ran well in his first start, and he's never gotten a dry track. And, for all I know, maybe he hates a dry track. Maybe he's run better in wet track. But his first start showed he could run, and I thought last time it did as well, and he's taking a class drop. And, like you, I prefer a horse with less chances, and he hasn't had that many.
Do we know if this fresh gelding is accurate? Because it's only 20 days.
I wasn't there, nor did anybody send them to me or anything.
I'd like a confirmation.
I thought it was a little strange that this horse was supposedly gelded.
For somebody like Carlos, who's been around horses since he's been in a stroller.
Well, you're friends with Carlos.
That's not something you ordinarily do.
Did he text you and tell you?
I can do that.
Could ask him, but I wondered that myself, but I don't really care. He's a gelding. Race number 4. I like race number 4. And I think a first question about race number 4 that needs to be addressed is who's going to be the speed. And once again, I've selected your top pick as the only video we'll show, because the question is, who's the speed? Is it this horse, Siding Spring, or is it the 3-horse Abiding Star? And I think that's a very reasonable question, because Abiding Star is the kind of horse that needs to go, and I think Dylan needs to be aggressive with him. But Siding Spring kind of needs to go as well, doesn't he? Though he has 1 rating. And this race is what? November. 3 races back. Last turf race. Second to Hieroglyphics.
So you see a lot more 1s on Abiding Star's card. But isn't Siding Spring just faster than him? Early?
He is.
He is.
But only because I think a lot of the races that Abiding Star has been, he's been able to back the pace down. I think that Abiding Star actually...
you might be right. But what I'm saying to you is, on paper, it certainly appears like Siding Spring would be able to clear and then back it down. And I think by doing that, whether you like Abiding... Now, neither one of us... Well, you have him 3rd. I don't like Abiding Star today for the simple fact that I think once you take him out of his game, he becomes a lot less effective.
If Dylan isn't aggressive with him, I think it's a mistake.
What's good about having a guy like Junior Alvarado is when the gate opens, if Dylan comes out of there and is aggressive with Abiding Star, I think he'll just take a hold because, like you said, Siding Spring has 1 from off the base.
I love Junior as a rider, as you know, but he's not the most aggressive rider out there either.
I understand that, and that's why I think he's perfect for a horse like this, especially in the dynamics of this race where you do have a horse in Abiding Star where he's not that fast. We saw him steal some races here the last couple of years, just walking the dog.
Well,
on the
I think
front
Junior's
end.
a sensational rider. I really do.
I'm talking about Abiding Star.
Oh, okay,
We've seen him win on some real soft paces. I think Junior.
But he's also been involved in some quick paces.
He has.
It's not as though he can't be faster. I think the situation is dictated. You're absolutely right. I feel like in a sprint, the Siding Star, if they went all out, might be the faster horse. Siding Spring.
No question about that.
I'll be honest with you. I don't love either one of them in this race.
Okay.
I'm going to use Siding Star because you know me. If Ned Allard's in the race, he's got to be on my top 4 somewhere.
Of course.
Nobody owes me. Ned Allard will never owe me
Ned
any
Allard
money.
and Dennis Lauman will always be
Ned Allard's
my
main. I've never met him in my life. He's my man. The guy, I've done great with that guy. That guy's a terrific trainer, and he's done very well shipping into New York, very selectively over the years.
He does not come for the free lunch. He comes to win.
I got 2 $50 horses one year with him.
That guy comes to win.
What do you do with the 4 Noble Thought in this race, a horse we both have second? Because I got to tell you something. I don't trust him. He runs his race, he's going to win. He's got a little bit of a look for Maker, and he is better getting back to the turf, but he probably wants much more distance to be most effective. He's a little bit dicey here. He can win. I think he's the horse to beat.
I would agree. I put him second because it's kind of hard to figure him out. It's not like they're bringing him back and running him a mile and a 16th. He has 2 races under his belt. So if you want to tell me this horse...
There's no route race for him, though.
Well, what I'm saying is if you want to tell me that this horse is running at a mile and a 16th off 6 months on the turf, you say, no, all right, well, it's a jumping off point.
Well, but they're looking for a spot where he can win. I mean, the problem is, what's he going to do? Wait 2 months to find a mile and 3/8 race in the Saratoga and then get rained off? I mean, you got to run him, and this is the best opportunity for him to run. So I perfectly understand why they're running. I mean, and I think that Kirk Wyckoff, who owns 3 Diamonds, would tell me the same thing. He's got to run him.
And he has races that, if his class can prevail, he'll beat these horses to the mile and 16th.
He absolutely can win this race, as can Musical Heart. But my worry with Musical Heart is that one big figure. I know those are better horses than these, but he didn't really do any running in that race. It's kind of a dressed-up running race, and I think Musical Heart was the morning line. No, he's not. He's 9-2. Excuse me. He's one of the favorites. Now, I thought that Wrapped, my top choice, would be better than his 4-1 morning line because his recent efforts aren't particularly good. I just thought he was very logical in here, and I thought he's a horse that would benefit from getting on the Widener at Belmont, which is much kinder to his closing running style than the inner turf courses and even Saratoga that he's been on. And I think shorter is better for this horse. And speaking of horses that have back races that are good enough, he certainly does. And I thought he was just a very logical horse, and I was hoping to get a little better than his 4-1 morning line.
Yeah, you know what? The problem is he's never the favorite, but he always takes, more often than not, he takes some kind of money. Even in the races,
he was 9-5 at one of his races on the board.
Even
he's been in some tough spots.
He's been in some really tough spots. I don't know. I know he has a decent enough record. He's been in the board and won.
Yeah, you don't have to knock him. He's a horse who can win the race.
Yeah, he can win.
He's good enough, and I think his price will be. I think it'll be better than 4-1. But this is a very, as you can see, when David makes a line like this, he's basically saying, "I'm lining up 5 horses at similar prices. I don't know for sure." And I don't think
he's that far off. I believe that at the end of the day, Noble Thought will be the favorite, but I don't think he'll be shorter than 2-1. He might be that 5-2.
Nobody should under 2-1. Yeah. Nobody should be 2-1 in this race, really.
There are plenty of races around here, though, where horses are under 2-1. It's very hard to move the money around. I agree.
It's hard
to move the money around here to make somebody 8-5, 9-5. It's nearly impossible.
I don't think you can look at any of the horses we talked about, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 8, the 9, and say unequivocally, I don't think this horse can win. They all can win. They've all got races that can win.
The whole bunch can win.
It's a tricky race. And the other thing is, none of them are coming in the race and you go, this one is in great form. They're going to have to run to beat him either. So,
I mean, Noble Thought's the favorite, and he's coming in,
Well, dirt races.
Yeah.
The 5th race is an interesting race because I think I sort of copped out with a horse who's a short price morning line, who I don't know how you don't like at all. But we'll take a look at Sandra's Mind running on November 11th back at Aqueduct, and it was a race where Deja Ricante also ran in there, and I think Deja Ricante ran 4th, and Sandra's Mind was 2nd. Sandra's Mind, this race will fall apart at the end, but the difference is Sandra's Mind was attending a pace that fell apart, and she was never on the rail, and the rail was the place to be. Now, you're going to counter with, well, she's had 7 starts in the turf. And I'm going to say, okay, that's all fine, except the problem is only one of them was going 6 furlongs. And I think she ran very well in the context of the race and the racetrack that day in her only race at 6 furlongs. And I think ultimately Tom Bush is seeing maybe this is a horse that just needs to go shorter. And that was my feeling. I didn't think she'd be 5-2, to be fair, but I do think she's the horse to beat. Why are you so against her,
I figured she'd be the favorite off here. Again, she's had some chances, and quite frankly, I want to see these Tom Bush horses get a race under their belts.
His horse ran fine here the other day.
Yeah, but both Blink Freud and this filly are both coming off long enough layoffs.
I think you're splitting hairs against a horse that is absolutely the horse to beat in here, and you're going to Clement on Saratoga Love.
Yeah, drop down, has the recency. That's pretty much it. I want to use
a few horses in here. Last race was atrocious, Anthony.
It wasn't good.
He's dropping this horse off an absolutely atrocious race, and he's going to be a short price. And this horse could easily be favored in here over Sandra's Mind. I mean, you say you don't want Sandra's Mind because she's the favorite. Are you really sure she's going to be favored over Sarah?
I think she'll be the favorite.
Okay, let's bet a lunch.
Okay.
Since you just
hold on. Time out. I think she'll be a shorter price than Saratoga Love. Because I think there's a really good chance in here that Quantitative Reason is the favorite. Because I think people are going to look at the paper and say to themselves, you know what? There's really not much.
I'm looking for UFOs. Hang on. You go on. I'll look for UFOs.
0 for 11.
It's very hard to make first-time stars the favorite unless there's a story in a race, a maiden-claiming race going 6 furlongs. I hear you. Okay, I'll take the 9 longer than 1 for 1 lunch, just because you're so sure.
You're taking the 11 longer than 1.
11. Yes, you're right.
Can I take it?
No, I'll take the 9 longer than the 1. I'll take that for 2 lunches. I'll give you 2-1. I'll give you 4-2 on that one.
Hard pass.
Really?
Yeah,
I almost got you. You thought you were doing me a favor there.
No, sir.
I tried to cheat you.
I did, yeah.
I tried. I wrote down.
Heads I win, tails you lose. That was your move just now.
I don't like your horse, though obviously she can win. I've got her 2nd. I'm very skeptical of her. The horse that I left out that I think can win here is Frenchie Frou Frou. Well,
you just wanted to say that.
She's produced a turf winner. The dam won on the turf. We saw a totalist win, not win, but that Tom Morley horse, that totalist, horse got claimed. How did somebody claim that horse?
Out of the Love You Blues the race?
This was like a huge price.
Wow.
This horse got bet first time out for Greg Sacco. I thought this was a little bit of an interesting horse. I don't fall asleep on this horse.
Okay.
Well, you've got horses like Keep It in there, who has about as much chance to win this as Steve and I in a horse suit. I mean,
what's wrong with Keep It?
Okay, what's right with him?
Well, the first race was against My Sassy Sarah and Stronger Than You Know.
She got beaten 15 lengths.
And then the next time she turfed, she ran against Open Company for 40.
She ran against Jen's Battle, and then she ran a 40.
Now
what's wrong with her? There's nothing right with her. She's 100-1 in here. I mean, she's 100-1. You want to have her, but what's wrong with her? I don't know. You'll have to tell me what's right with her because she doesn't make it on my paper, as my friend of mine used to say, an ex-friend of mine used to say. Not on my paper. Quantitative Breezing, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm just saying, is it going to take much to beat this bunch? I don't think it's going to take much.
Doesn't Quantitative Breezing sound like a Klarovich horse that was sold at a 2-year-old sale or something?
I couldn't believe it.
I wonder if this horse was already. This has a name.
But you don't see a lot of. No, I'm going to tell you why it's not. they always fit, and that doesn't fit. You need you need the space in between, and the space isn't there. The only one was the North Remembers, and we know why the North Remembers was named. So that makes sense.
The North Remembers was named apparently for that silly TV show.
That's for Game of Thrones.
The two of you liked. The two of you liked. I'm too mature for it. Way too mature. Race number 6. What's that? What's that, Steve? I know it's a Game of Thrones reference. There's a lot of Steves around here. I said Steve to him.
We have Steve the cameraman. We have Steve in his ear.
TD. We've got more Steves than you can. Anyway, a lot of Steves. I
don't know where he was going with that, but I'm glad it stopped. What's next?
Singular Sensation. I'm glad to see her back. I remember running into Mark Hennig a night or something after she ran. I bet her this day. And she ran her eyeballs out, almost beat Rojakowski, who's a very good horse. And then he said she came out of the race with a bit of an issue. So I'm glad to see her back. Obviously, if she runs this race, she's going to win. But how much can you trust her, Anth?
This is another race where trust is a very it's a slippery slope to trust any of them. If she runs this race, she's going to win. She has 4 races on the dirt in her life. She ran against newly minted first time out. She ran against Rojakowski.
Wait, no, don't skip Princess Pinky.
Well, she did catch Princess Pinky.
Don't skip Princess Pinky as long as you're mentioning good horses.
I mentioned the top
You like her?
2,
Is she in your top 4?
And now I'm backing up. She also was chasing the pace that day against Princess Pinky, and I think she's just been a little bit better off when she's allowed to settle and roll. And I think that's what she'll do in here.
So Amos was the speed and finished second. Just pointing that out since you've decided to manufacture that as an excuse.
Say again?
I understand if she runs her last race, she's going to win. I am not taking this horse at a short price off a long layoff. I'm just not doing it.
How short do you think she's going to be?
2 to 1, 8 to 5. She runs her last race, she should be 3 to 5. 2 to 5, 1 to 5.
I think people are going to be afraid of the layoff.
I don't think so. I think they're going to see the gigantic figure edge. And the reality is,
it's 10 months.
Even her prior dirt race is going to beat this field. And so I think she's going to be very, very short in here. I also think she can win, and I hope she comes back and runs well. So I'm not way against her. I like a horse in here you don't particularly like, and that's the 4 Homedale Park, who got a perfect prep on the turf last time. She's obviously not a turf horse based on her debut. She was also a 3-year-old that was improving with every start last year. And I really think she was finally starting to come into her own. She made that ridiculous middle move in her last year.
You realize it's not last year. It was just earlier this year, right?
Earlier,
it just feels like last year.
Right. She made that ridiculous middle move against Ice Princess, who was a heavy favorite that day. She closed Crazy Gal. I think she's been quietly improved. And if you look at this field, I think she's the one that has the most upside. And I like Homedale Park today to run very well. And also, we'll see how quick the pace is. I think she and Making Sense could be in a pretty good position tactically in here. We'll see.
Okay. I think Making Sense has to make the lead in here, no?
Doesn't have to, but she could. It's conceivable. No, I mean, Princess Pinky isn't that slow if they want to be aggressive with her. You know, it's not so clear cut in here. So we'll see what happens. But I thought Homedale Park was a very interesting player in this race, and I like her. I'm betting her. But we'll see what Singer says. Anyone else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Race number 7. You know, yesterday was, do you remember what yesterday we ran 5 days a week was last year? The Wednesday of this week was? I was in Las Vegas, by the way. That's not the question, though.
I don't know.
Yesterday was the Big Pick 5 carryover.
Oh, okay.
Discretionary Mark won on the Thursday this year when he won.
Yep.
Your top pick.
Yep.
I don't know if there was a luckier win in North America that year, but I know there wasn't one at Belmont. How do you suggest that he's going to win today?
It is nearly it is 1 day less of an identical layoff to the race.
Yeah, he won the race because every other speed got left in that race, and he walked in the front end. And Banana Thief, who is a dead closer, was forced to chase him and still almost beat him coming off a layoff. And that was about as slow a pace in that race. They were literally, I don't think it was possible. I don't know. I'm imagining that no one could believe just how slow they actually went.
We need to try to.
Well, you need to acknowledge how the race was run because he's not going to be in front in this race because Fast Getaway, Hushin, Douse's Beach, and we'll look at Douse's Beach here, winning his last race. They're all faster. Bustin' Shout is faster. He's not fast, so he's going to need everybody in this race to just completely get left again to win.
But when he catches these Belmont Park, these hard Belmont Park turf courses, he runs a good race.
Anthony, that's just not true.
Okay.
What you're imagining this. The reality is that he won a race last year, and this is Dowse's Beach, who we'll get to, but for some reason I need to show it. All right, let me put it this way. I could not possibly agree with you less, okay? You have your opinion. But won't you acknowledge that that win here last year was about as phony a win as you could find?
I just said he got to walk on the front end.
What race in here do you think wins it for him? Where's he won a race?
I think there's enough speed in here for him to just pick him up late, and like I said, he has a very good record at Belmont Park. He likes when these turf courses get like they are now. They're speedy right now. He's run. This is a horse that I believe on the stopwatch has overachieved in his career. I don't think he's as good as going 7-2, 8 flat.
Won races when he got either lucky or he was a heavy favorite. I understand.
How does a horse win 5 times and always get lucky?
Well, he was 5-2. 7-2 favorite, 6-5 favorite in his 3 wins at Belmont, going back 2018, and then there was that unbelievable luck that led to his win last time, and then there was a season of races where he didn't underperform, but he didn't overperform. He just sort of ran his races that aren't that good.
I knew this was going to be the debate today.
Let me add something else. He's not 10-1. If you wanted to hope for a miracle at 10-1 on him or 8-1, that's fine. He's 3-1 on the line.
So am I not supposed to pick him because he's 3-1?
You can pick whoever you want.
I think he's going to get a good setup under a rad. Okay. I think there's some speed in here that's faster than him.
Okay, I'll bet you the 4 beats him for a lunch. The 4's...
I really like this horse today, so you can just you can run
4 beat him
the
for
gamut.
lunch. I don't know. My horse is 15-1 morning line. Yours is 3. What kind of odds do you want to give me that my 8 horse beats him?
Was that Rudy? I can't give you more than 2-1 on Rudy. I'm sorry.
I can't take it.
I just can't give you more than 2-1 on Rudy.
Well, he's 15-1 morning line.
I can't do it.
Okay, I don't agree with the morning line. I don't know what to do with Dowse's Beach because I think things were kind of over for him, and he was extraordinarily lucky when he was successful. And Irad herded and fouled every horse that was near him, and every time he won.
So isn't that
with impunity?
And you have to also take into account, I believe, save that day. He has just been better as of late when there's give in the ground. There's no give in this ground.
No, he hasn't. August 24th at Saratoga.
I said save that one
but you can't just throw out a race and say, oh, he wants given the ground.
Hold on a second.
Because he happened to run.
I can't just say over the course of the last 18 months he's been better overall?
No, he
has some bad
Anthony, he's got nothing but races with given the ground, and he handles given the ground. But the reality is that the fastest race he ran on figures last year was on a course that was firm at Saratoga in late August. So, no, I'm not going to allow you to say that. He's just a horse that's...
What happened 2 starts back?
He was running 7 furlongs, and he didn't get the lead.
What happened in February at Gulfstream?
Anthony, it doesn't matter what I'm saying. But what happened on August 24th? He handles given the ground. He's not better with given the ground. He handles given the ground. No, that's completely wrong. He handles given the ground.
The 2 fastest races of his life have come on yielding courses.
He's run a lot of yielding courses, and he handles it well. But he also handles firm going. He's also a bit of a phony. He also was allowed to get away with slow paces. Irad fouling horses that came near him. Yep. I mean, he should have. There's an argument he should have come down when he beat Banana Thief, when he came out in the very late stages of the race. He cut another horse off, I think, in that Saratoga race. There was a speed in the backstretch at Mamie Road.
I don't particularly like him today. With everything involved, and these horses that are leaving service, some of them have won, most of them haven't. That's the game anyway.
I don't trust this horse anyway. I'm not a fan. But no,
I
don't think that there's validity to liking to being better. He may have a better edge because a lot of horses may not handle the given the ground, but he's fine on firm turf. It's not. They don't need to be mutually exclusive.
No, I know
you don't have to need.
I think he's
But what about his fastest fig on a firm turf last year?
Well, I think the fact that his fastest fig on the firm turf last year is showing that he's going the wrong way. I think he's going the wrong way because he's not running the races he used to run, and he shouldn't have won that day.
Does anybody have any bourbon that's near the 3rd floor of Belmont Park?
I think this horse was going the wrong way last year.
I need some bourbon right now.
I can always use bourbon, but I'm just saying.
Big slug of bourbon. Okay, we disagree. What about Fast Getaway? He never seems to win, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and there's a lot of pacing
and that's
here.
The other thing when these optional claimers and these 2 other ends meet up, or the optional and the A other ends meet up, you want the horses that win. And in this instance,
okay. I like Bourbon Mission in here. I think if you start taking Bourbon Mission's races apart, they're better than they look. Now, the reality is he's going to have to probably run his best race to win because he's really got only one figure that can win it. But what I like about that race was a race actually it was at Belmont where he got a fast pace to close into. And you look at the race to Mo Maverick. You know, because you like Mo Maverick that day. He absolutely walked in the lead. 22-3 and 45-3 is like going like
so the race was over
24 and 48.
Right,
it was over the 3/8 pole. The race was over at the 9/16 pole. He has had one slow pace after another, and on paper they're supposed to be moving here. And frankly, last time out, he was running against. I know it goes from Claimer 32 to Claimer 40. I think that was a better field last time. I actually do.
You could argue it.
I think it was a more competitive field. And frankly, he didn't run that badly.
No,
and
he
got,
didn't.
Manny had to put him closer because the pace wasn't that hot. When somebody goes, what do you mean 22-42 wasn't that close? They went 107-2, guys. They came home in 23.
They came home fast.
So don't give me that was, I'm not saying they were a total crawl, but it wasn't particularly
He's not
fast.
the kind of horse that's going to win if they come home in 23.
Yeah, what he needs is to be able to drop back here, and I think that's what Ray will do. I don't love him. I just don't like a lot of these horses, Anthony.
Listen, if you don't like discretionary mark, I mean, I put Belmont in there. Just I kind of got
of horses that took advantage of gold rails last time.
I mean, but again, I kind of think he's going to get a decent enough trip in here. And if you don't trust Dowse's Beach,
where's his name from, Belmont? You know this.
Dangerous Liaisons.
Good. Or is it lay?
I'll say
what
Dangerous
Liaisons. What is it? Lay?
You think I'm going to know the French?
How many times has that movie
that
been made into a movie? I do like Malkovich the most in it. Glenn Close, right? How about you? What's that movie with Selma Blair and Reese Witherspoon, Ryan Phillippe? That's based on that too.
Oh, Bittersweet Symphony at the end. Cruel Intentions.
Yes. Wow.
Good movie.
You are on your game today. You are really on
your game. You and I probably
today.
like Cruel Intentions for different reasons, but Cruel Intentions is a very good movie.
I like Cruel Intentions. I don't know what your perverse reasons are for liking it. I thought it was entertaining. That's my usual thing for movies, entertaining.
It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
They got married because of that movie.
How'd that work out?
Well, I mean, listen.
Okay, race number 8, the Easy Goer. Yes, it's a 3-horse field.
We didn't get to marry Reese Witherspoon, I can tell you that.
This is, we got close, Reese and I, but it just didn't work out.
Not today, Andy Serling.
This is not the first 3-horse field we've had in the Easy Goer. Japan won the last 3-horse field as the longest shot on the board. I think that was his last career start, Barry Schwartz, actually. Well, I know that Steve Asmussen wasn't upset. They all scratched out. We'll take a look at Sonneman's win last time out. And I don't know how good that field was, and they were flying up front. But this horse got badly bet. And you see, this is a problem. When a chart caller says him back, and I know it's the awful angle of the head-on, but I mean, if you can't tell that horse hit the gate and was completely left in there, then you're not doing your job. And I'm serious. And I'm going to tell you something about the charts. The guys here take it seriously. They actually missed a horse, and I spoke to them about it, and they fixed the chart. Because that's these guys, that's the kind of work they do. They are not concerned if they made a mistake. These charts are sacred. And most horse players don't watch all the replays and shouldn't be expected to. And you need to, if you are a chart caller, you have a responsibility to do your job. And to not have this horse getting left is just ridiculous.
And he didn't, missed the break.
This horse blew the break and hit the gate in doing so. I think he's probably going to win, considering what's left in here. I'm still not completely sold on this horse. And he's going to be an overwhelming favorite.
He's 1-5. 2-5. I mean, yeah. And, you know, there's one thing. And I know it's a 3-horse field. He has no speed.
Well, I mean, Celtic striker, and I'm going to tell you something. Manny Franco and Ray Handel, don't nurse him along, dude.
There'll be no nursing.
Don't nurse.
I think Manny's going to blast out of there.
Go. Let him get brave. Let him chase you around this track. Yeah.
If I had any guts, I'd have put this horse on top. But I don't.
You have guts. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Informative and Celtic striker. I don't know if it's Celtic or Celtic. We're both cross-entered in Saturday's Ohio Derby, which you'll see on America's Day at the races. It kicks off the cross-country pick 5 on Saturday. They were both cross-entered. Now, Informative came out of here. I assume that means they're going to go to Thistledown. Ray.
That's some morning line in that race. Can I get the morning line in Wrangell?
Please.
Can I get 15-1 in Wrangell?
So.
Can I get 10-1 on him? Can I get 8-1 on him?
So, Celtic striker. And I think Ray did a very good job when you see horses.
I can't believe Ray didn't ship because he wants to ship right after that. He could go to Oklahoma.
He could if this race held apart, I think Ray would have shipped. But when 3 come out, you stay when you're going to be 5 when you should in theory be 5 in front of these horses.
He is just faster than these horses.
He has one horse in.
By the way, I don't think Toy's impossible. He's improving for Mike Trombetta. I honestly, I know we chalked it out. I can see the argument for using all 3 of these in the pick 5. I really can.
I mean, you have a 2-5 favorite who has not shown. I'm not going to say he doesn't have. He's never shown any speed.
Yeah, and he's and I'll tell you something else. I didn't put the stats up because I didn't know it was going to be Raiders Field. The Asmussen barn does not have good numbers off trainer switches. They have lousy numbers off trainer switches. Now, training this horse off Mark Hennick's training, they should be fine. But he's no superstar. At least based on his races.
I don't disagree.
What is his dam's claim to fame?
She beat Rachel Alexandra in the return. That would be John Sheriff's.
Correct. Wow. You're on top of your game today.
Come on, man.
I knew you'd get that. I was a softball. I agree. This is a race that could trip some people up.
These 3-horse fields can get strange, and this one can get really strange.
Number 9, my top choice got scratched. I'm assuming you went to the 12, and Fresco's the horse to beat in here. I'm not. Guys, those aren't my picks. My picks are 5, 12, 9, 6. Now, maybe I sent them incorrectly, though I'm going to check my phone, Bobby. My picks are 5, 12, 9, 6. Could we please fix those?
Yeah, I wasn't about to.
Sorry, it's probably my fault, but I'll check.
I was very excited about being able to end this sequence, and I felt very confident ending this sequence with 3s and 12s. And now Magnolia's Lady's out.
I don't.
Well,
I think there were 5 horses to use, and now I'm going to use 4 of them.
Okay.
Fresco had a wide trip. Probably ran better against opens last time, and is a very much the horse to beat in here. But there's a lot going on in this race, Anthony. I'm going to talk about Towering Gaze first for Dave Donk, because we don't have a ton of time.
Good.
This horse ran well. Now, I know the race didn't come up super fast. Towering Gaze just basically spent the entire race losing position. Now, I thought that Jose did a good job of sort of saving ground and not panicking, but this horse did not have good position here and made a significant run when he finally got some daylight, and it was pretty late. 5, 12, 9, 6.
She's running. She's running at the end. You saw her just alter course there, right on the turn before the straightaway. Yep.
Right, even here, you see her turning her head. She wants to get outside. Now she starts running, but he can't. He's afraid he can't get outside the other horse, so he stays inside. And I feel like her rally really stalled down the inside. I think this horse can run, and I don't mind scratching this horse as my top pick.
Yeah.
There's pedigree for this horse. Took some money first time out.
That was the key. I mean, you see Jose climb aboard, and then you see the horse is 7-1. The second horse, Snicket, took all the money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honey Berardini paid a big price. Actually had plenty of turf pedigree. It was the infamous 5th pick that day.
That was
I think she's a player in there. And I didn't show the replay because the other horse scratched, but Helene Jacqueline.
Yeah, stronger than you know, got right to the top that day. No. Helene Jacqueline did not.
Helene Jacqueline. Go to your replay and watch Helene Jacqueline's trip. She actually had a world of complications during the running of the race. How good is she? I don't know. But she did have a bit of a trip in that race. And the other thing is, do you really want to leave Silky Blue out of here? Beautiful Blue may have been more of a dirt horse, but there is turf pedigree in there.
She was 1 for 2 on the turf.
And they paid $200,000 for this horse, and they've wanted to run her on the turf, a hard spun. I'd be very careful with Silky Blue in this race. She could be very dangerous.
Yeah, I got a second. I have a second.
I think there's a lot going on in this race.
I just thought of Fresco. I mean, the cutback and the...
She's the horse to beat. I'm not against her, but I think there's a lot going on, more than just her. What do you like about Unicorn Sally? You just had to have some crazy horse to make me crazier? You do this to me intentionally?
Sometimes.
You do?
The 4th pick sometimes is done to drive you crazy.
You're the best.
That is full disclosure. I try to get that
across,
There's no
question that Anthony does this stuff.
I try to get that across.
I'm the biggest fish on the planet, right?
Exactly.
You could dangle like a tuna can down there,
When I say
something
like that, like I thought this was 3s and 12s, the 3rd and 4th, one of the 3rd or 4th picks is usually
done to annoy me. It works.
Nudge.
Anyhow, head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. We'll match you with a $200 deposit bonus. Use match 200. NairaBets.com, and also this Saturday through the app only, we will be offering a special deal. If you bet 25 or more to win on each of 4 selected stakes, on each selected stakes, $40 bonus coming your way. So basically, you're getting 40% of your money back. That's a pretty good deal. I'll be doing that. Are those the 4 Naira stakes? They're selected. Maybe there are other tracks too. Don't know. I'm in. Anyhow, Johnny I, the voice of the New York Racing Association, is up next with the scratches and changes.